What's up, guys? Your boy's back. Today I want to just go over with you the top 5 Pokemon according to Peakalytics at the moment and just give you my thoughts on why they're there, why they're doing so well, and will they stay or will they be replaced. This is just my thoughts. Obviously, I'm a very different player than most. I think in very strange parts of the box when it comes to competitive Pokemon. So, a lot of times I avoid the top 5 Pokemon because I just realize people are just expecting these things. So, let me just kind of go over, maybe I can help you learn how to fight against them as well. The only one I've been a huge fan of so far is the Metagross. So, I'm a huge fan of Metagross. He's so good, and a lot of people I've talked to don't think he will stay. And I disagree with that, but we will see. He may drop down to top 10. He may not stay in top 5, but we will see. So first thing, we got Tapu Fini. So we see this thing right off the bat has a great typing, great ability, great stats, great move pool. So it has all the things it needs to be a great Pokemon. So that right there helps it out. So we see that this is a very defensive Pokemon with very good defensive stats. And it can actually do some damage too with a 95 special attack. That's not terrible considering the bulk in typing. So let's just kind of think about what does Tapu Fini do? Okay, so a lot of times you'll see this used, when it's used efficiently, it's brought in the back to help clean up end game. The way I typically was using it was I would use a leftover set. You see a lot of people using Wiki Berry, or depending on how you train it, the type of one of the berries that heal 33%. One that higher than a citrus berry, because this thing tends to hit red bar and then gets hit with the berry and get to heal all the way back up. I personally like leftovers a little better. Wolfie seems to like choice specs. You can even do that, which is not bad at all, considering that really puts more damage output for this thing. And there's not a problem with clicking Muddy Water. But so its move pool, this kind of just shows you what the most used moves are here. I like Scald and I like Muddy Water. I was using a Scald set, but Muddy Water, obviously, let's just say you use these 4 moves here. Muddy Water, Moonblast, Protect, and Calm Mind. So this thing just gets bulkier and it makes itself hit harder. You have options to Icy Wind for speed control, Dazzling Gleam for fairy spread damage, Muddy Water for water spread damage, Moonblast for single target, higher damage output, and Scald also for higher damage output and that chance to burn, which can come in handy considering Metagross is a big thing now. Hits Landorus for super effective. You can land a burn. Hits Incineroar for super effective. Hits Glastrier and can burn Glastrier. A lot of great options there. Even learns Taunt. Hill Pulse is a thing. Ice Beam is a thing. So just an incredible move pool. These are the 4 most used moves. If you're trying to use this Pokemon, I recommend just trying these 4 moves here. Starting out, they're very simple. The ability, though, I think is really what makes puts Tapu Fini over the top. So Misty Surge. So this is why I'm not allowed to just Reggie Drago the crap out of everybody, because of Tapu Fini. It halves the damage of all dragon type attacks. Not only that, you can't fall asleep within that terrain either. You can't be statused while in the terrain. It's like from something that directly statuses you, like a Thunder Wave or Sleep, but you can still be hit with like a Scald Burn. Stuff like that can still be done. But this thing is very, very effective at what it does, and it hits fairly decent and is very bulky, very hard to remove, and it's just a pest. You've probably seen this thing on the ladder. So let's go ahead and move on to Landorus Therian. So this guy here has a 4 times weakness to Ice, which is his biggest weakness, which is why you see Ice Punch on Metagross, which is why Glastrier just slaps this thing down. But his attack stat has nothing to scoff at all. It even has a pretty decent speed stat. And the special attack stat's not bad either, but you don't typically do that. So great move pool. This is an Intimidate user. That's his only ability. So this thing can get in. You can choice scarf it and just throw it in and U-turn out and hit a little bit of damage, bring it back in, intimidate, U-turn out. You can do stuff like that. Or you can even put a life orb on it or weakness policy and really go to town with this thing with stab ground and stab flying, which are just great typings. The ground is really good because there's so much Regieleki running around, so you can just kind of negate a turn of Regieleki if you can call out a single target move or something. So really this thing just earthquakes and rock slides, more so than I've seen anything. It rarely maxes. But this thing is kind of, as far as statistics say, it's the premier intimidator. But if you ask me, I honestly do. I see this thing falling off over time. I really do. And I know that that's a weird thing to say, but I think it's just hype that has it up there because I think Incineroar's utility is so much higher. Landers can definitely be more offensive, though. So it does pose a much more offensive threat. But its time 4 weakness to ice doesn't help it. It just can't stay on the field as long, and it's a lot harder for it to stay on the field. So I just don't see it. It definitely is going to stay a top 10 mon, don't get me wrong. But I don't see it staying in top 5. I really do not. So I could be wrong, but that's just my call. That's the meta call from Phil. Do you think it'll stay? Obviously, it doesn't have a great move pool, really, even. I mean, that's the only flying move it learns is fly. That's crap. That's really crap. Earthquake is the only ground move it learns. That's also crap. So Rock Slide's a good move and U-turn's okay. And Superpower as well. I mean, it just doesn't get a lot of great moves. So it's really lacking in the move pool, but it excels in its stats. So let's move on to Incineroar. We all know about Incineroar. This thing is still good because it's your other option for Intimidate. And it's a much better Intimidator if you ask me. It's just a better typing overall as far as something you want to maybe live longer. It does carry a few weaknesses like to water, to fighting, to fairy, to rock and ground. I mean, it has some weaknesses, don't get me wrong, but this thing lives. This thing really lives. I have it defensively trained, and it can live a Max Quake from Regigigas without getting its slow start. So, this thing can really live. And that's obviously not a stab Max Ground, but it can live it. It does. And it has an incredible move pool. Fake Out, Parting Shot, Snarl, Flare Blitz, Darkest Lariat. You can even go special with it with Burning Jealousy or Heat Wave. You can taunt. You can U-turn, which I would just recommend Parting Shot over U-turn. It's just overall better, I think. But there can be some places for U-turn if you're doing some weakness policy stuff. You can proc weakness policies with it. It's just an incredible mon, and it will always be incredible. Its move pool just lets it do what it wants. Speed tier is not great, but I mean this thing is just a healthy boy, and he's just a well spread out move pool. Typing's pretty good, and stats are pretty good, and it's gonna continue to be a pest because of its move pool, almost solely because of its move pool. I don't know what just happened there, but we'll go ahead and move on to Metagross. We've all seen Incineroar running around, so let's go ahead and move on to one of our newer things. Metagross. So we see right off this thing has a stout attack stat of 135. That's one more point than Tyranitar, and that we all know how much of a pest that thing has been. And the best part about it, you can't intimidate this thing. It has clear body. You can't lower its stats. And look at the defense stat. That doesn't play. The special defense stat isn't great, but even it's still pretty good. I've been running an Assault Vest set, and I've also done a Weakness Policy set as well. But an Assault Vest set on this thing, and this thing does not die. And its biggest threats right now are Landorus is a big threat because of the ground stab. And also the dark stab from Moltres is kind of a big thing, especially since you're getting hit on your weaker side. But I'm just telling you, man, this thing is going to it's not going away. It's going to be around. Clear body in a Dynamax format is incredible. And especially when you add it onto something with such heavy attack and bulk, it's kind of nice. The only thing holding it back is it kind of has an awkward speed tier. Like, it can't quite operate incredibly in Trick Room. I found it better on Tailwind, like with a Whimsicott. I think it's better in that area. And its move pool is even great. I mean, so let me give you an example of the move pool. I've been using Iron Head, and I don't even use the Psychic Zen Headbutt Stab. I just literally do Iron Head, Ice Punch, Earthquake, and Thunder Punch. And my reason for running Thunder Punch over Zen Headbutt is because of this thing right here, Topafini. That is why we run Thunder Punch, because that thing's everywhere. And if you look, Psychic Stab is not good right now. Psychic moves are not even good right now. Like, really, they're not. There's Incineroar run around, he's immune. Topafini, why not just Thunder Punch it? Landorus, you're max quaking it. You know, like Regieleki, you're max quaking it. Glacier, you're max stealing. Like, there's not really a place for Psychic right now. It's not a great typing, especially with Moltres. Like, it scares off other Psychics as well. Like, Metagross is really one of the only Psychics that can thrive right now because it's bulky enough to do it. And there's not a lot of bulky Psychic types. There just isn't. But Metagross is the boy. He can hit you hard, too. And he just has a great move pool. I mean, you can run the Zen Headbutt, too. Why not? I mean, I guess you can. It's not the best, but overall, this thing is good because of Clear Body. It just gets stronger and stronger, and you can't do anything about it, period. And it just kind of starts... It doesn't snowball, but it definitely... It can snowball with a weakness policy. Let me say that. You can even put a fighting move on this thing. I forget the fighting move it learns. I think it learns Brick Break. And you can just kind of up your own attack by just throwing out Max Knuckles. I mean, if you really want to go that route, I mean, that's possible. That could be something we see in the future, I think. Maybe some Riolu strats coming out as well. Just make this thing defensive and huge and tanky and just gross. So let's go ahead and move on to Regieleki. I'm a huge fan of Regieleki. I love that speed stat, bro. Look at that. 200. You guys already know that. I actually like Regidrago better, but I like Regieleki as well. So we see this thing dies very easy. But it outspeeds everything very easily. You don't even have to really invest speed in this thing, and it won't get outsped by anything but a Dragapult with max speed investment. But this thing's coverage is terrible. Like, really, really terrible. It has electric moves. Oh, and Light Screen and Reflect. But I mean, like, offensively, it has an Ancient Power. So it has a Rock move. And it has a Hyper Beam. So you kind of get away from it a little bit. But I like this thing as a screens user. I like to just put a Light Clay on this boy and let him throw up a quick screen and let him do work that way. I think he's just better that way. You can throw Electro Web on him as well, give him a little bit of speed control. So, you know, your other things can start outspeeding stuff. Throw him out there with a Metagross. Throw up a Light Screen. Make yourself bulky. Throw up a Reflect, whatever you need. Whatever is, relevant. Maybe even you just like say, okay, maybe I'm just going to Electro Web and slow everything down. And yeah, you can even do that. And guess what? You're slowing them down, and Metagross is just going to begin to thrive in his environment because of that. So I think he makes a great teammate for Metagross. See, look at that. He's third best teammate. All these boys are teammates together. The top 5 Pokemon are teammates together. We can't stop them. So don't expect Regieleki to go anywhere anytime soon either. He has Eerie Impulse too, Thunder Wave, which isn't as good as like the other moves it has, but it can Thunder Wave. It can do it, like it's there. It's always a possibility. Oh, your boy is tired. Oh, let me get that yawn out. But guys, I just wanted to give you my thoughts on this. If you haven't already, please subscribe to your boy. It helps me out. I like subscribers. I like subscribers. Subscribes to me today, and you can hear from me tomorrow if you do that. That's how it works. Subscribe to me today, and you'll hear from me tomorrow. And guys, if you watched it, thanks. And as always, God bless. Peace.